What is going on, Rough family? Welcome back to the channel. Your boy Roy here. I am so excited to be here because today we are going to discuss the top 5 supplements that I personally recommend to my clients who are looking to lose weight. And it's going to be so much fun going over this. As always, I want to remind you, please don't forget to subscribe and turn those notifications on so you don't miss any future videos we're coming out. And today I only have one ask of you, and that is if you learned something today, you find this information valuable, please share this with a friend or share it to your social media. You never know, you might change somebody else's life. But with that being said, let's dive in. All right, so the number one supplement that I always recommend, the first conversation I usually have with my clients, the number one thing that's going to get you into the right mindset, move you in the right direction, help you out the most. Number one supplement, you guys, is no supplements. I know you're like, what? That's not what I came here for, Roy. But let me explain. There is no supplement that is going to get you the results you're looking for. Before we can talk about these other supplements and the things that I usually recommend, is that I have to be transparent with you, is that there is no magic pill. If there was a pill you could take to lose the weight and get in shape and look and feel your best, I promise you, this is like, I'm telling you right now, I will be the first one to tell you. I promise. Okay. And, to kind of, bring this point home is I did a quick Google search, did some research of when did the USA start to have an obesity epidemic? When did we start noticing that we were, as a country, starting to put on more weight and hold on to extra fat? And the obesity epidemic actually started in 1980. They actually think it actually started a little bit before then, but around 1980 is when we started to notice it. And the first fat burner, the first supplement, called fat reducers, was released in 1893, so 13 years-ish after the obesity epidemic. And the reason why this is important is because before the obesity epidemic, there wasn't an obesity epidemic, which means people were in shape before fat burners were even a thing. And fat burners came out after a lot of people started gaining weight. Again, if fat burners worked, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. You would have already bought your fat burners. You'd already be taking them. You would have already lost the weight and you'd be hunky-dory. Again, I just want to emphasize that supplements do not magically get you these results. They are meant to supplement your diet. At no point are you going to be able to avoid learning to be more active in your lifestyle and learning how to have a healthy relationship with food. And of course, I hope that throughout my channel, you get that information, that knowledge, so that way you can start doing those things. And then once you have a good foundation and you are moving more, you are more active, and you're having this healthy relationship with food and finding balance and what actually works for you, supplements can help supplement that. All right. Supplements are not what gets you the results. They're what help the results if they're quality and you're taking the right things. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So that is my first recommendation. Understand that you do not technically need supplements to lose weight and get in shape. Can we make that agreement? Cool. So let's move on to number 2. The second supplement that I would recommend for, although the first one wasn't a supplement, the second thing I would recommend for people, and this is probably the most common one, is going to be a high quality post-workout protein shake. And not only am I going to recommend that, but I want to kind of break down why and how that works. So the reason why this is the number one thing that I personally recommend to people is because most people looking to lose weight struggle to eat enough protein in a given day. So if you have a high quality protein shake, it can help you reach those protein goals, which kind of kills 2 birds with one stone. The first one being that it's helping you eat more protein, which will help increase your metabolism, which ultimately will help you burn fat. Not only that, but if you're eating more protein, then it will ideally help preserve, repair, and build your lean muscle tissue. So when you do lose weight, you can make sure it's the right kind of weight, because when you lose weight, nobody wants to lose muscle weight. We're trying to focus on losing fat weight. Now, I need you to understand that I emphasize that this needs to be a high quality post-workout protein shake. Again, if you're not going to do something that's the best of the best, if you're not going to take the highest quality supplements, then you'd be better off not doing supplements at all and going back to number 1 and just cleaning up your diet and doing whole foods. All right. So then the next question is, well, what makes a high quality protein shake? I'm going to break that down for you right now. So there's 5 big things that I look for when trying to find the right protein shake. And if you want to know what I recommend, I always recommend Post Rough. This is 100% whey isolate. Made to take after a shake, after your workouts, and it is absolutely delicious. But we'll get more into why I recommend this in a second. But here's the 5 things. The first thing that you're going to be looking for is that it is 100% whey isolate. So if you are looking at the back of your nutrition label, underneath the nutrition label, there's the ingredients. The first thing that it should say is whey isolate or 100% whey isolate or something along those lines. And the reason why that's important is because as you're going through the process of taking milk and turning it into a powder, the whey isolate is the highest quality and most bioavailable and fastest digesting protein powder on the market. Okay, as if making this video, the research backs this up 100%. It is higher quality, more bioavailable, and faster digesting than a pea protein or rice protein, which would be vegan proteins, better than a concentrate or a casein. Your body just recognizes it better. It's faster digesting. It is a higher quality, and you will see that. If you were to take a whey isolate, a whey concentrate, a casein, and a vegan protein and put them all in a shaker and shake them up, you will be able to just see the difference of how much lighter and cleaner the whey isolate looks. So you're looking for something that's 100% whey isolate because your body will respond to it the best. So when you look at the back of that label, if it says protein blend, a pea protein, a rice protein, a casein, a caseinate, something along those lines, probably not the best, okay? Again, not saying that those might not work. You got to figure out what works best for you. I'm just saying from my personal experience, 100% whey isolate is what has gotten me and my clients better and faster results. The second thing you're looking for in a whey isolate is that it is hydrolyzed. And hydrolyzed just means that it's pre-digested. So the idea is you would take this after your workout. And so after your workout, the faster we can get this from the shaker into your digestive system and into your muscles to start that recovery process, the better. And so if you're recovering faster, you're going to be less sore. If you're less sore, that means you could probably spend more days in the gym and not feel tired and sluggish and get more out of the gym. And that means you're going to be able to get stronger and push more and harder in the gym, which ultimately means the faster we can build that lean toned muscle, the faster we can increase our metabolism and start burning fat faster. And that's kind of the idea behind it being a whey isolate and hydrolyzed and those two things coming together. And what's really cool about this, you guys, is that what I love about a post-workout shake is that if you find something high quality and tastes really good, it's your treat after your workouts. And when you drink this after your workouts, it actually helps you, but again, doesn't get you the results. Although having more protein in your day-to-day will help you, if it's designed to be taken after your workouts, you have to earn it. You have to put in the work. You have to do the activity. So it's kind of like a win-win on both accounts. And that's why I love this so much, because it means that if technically you're drinking your post-rough shake, it's usually after your workouts, which you should be doing to live a happier, healthier life. Make sense? Sweet. Let's go on to number 3. The third thing you're looking for in your protein shake is that it's low temperature processed. So not to get too sciencey on you, but basically when manufacturers are creating their proteins, they can either use really, really, really high heat or chemicals to create their proteins. And when they do this, it actually denatures the protein, and then your body doesn't recognize it as protein, and it causes your stomach to be upset. It causes bloating. You can't digest it and process it. It's just a cascade of negative events. And basically, it's just a waste of your money, because if you can't digest the protein, you can't use the protein to help repair your muscle and do the things you're supposed to do with it. So again, low temperature process is really important, and the company and the bottle that you're buying should advertise this somewhere on the bottle. Supplement companies do not have to advertise how their protein powders are made. So if they're not doing it the right way, odds are they're not going to advertise how they're making it. If they're doing it the right way, then they're probably going to market and advertise it. That brings us on to the fourth thing that we're looking for in our protein shakes. You want a company that is third-party tested. Like an FDA regulated facility is usually what I look for, and you can look for that. Again, it should be advertised on your label. And basically what this means is that the facility that it's created in is regulated by a third-party company, so you can be sure that what they're putting into the bottle is accurate to what they're actually selling you, right? You don't want somebody saying it's one thing, but it's actually something else. It's just kind of like you can trust the company in that regard. So the fifth and final thing is the ingredients, okay? So there's two main things. When you're looking at the nutrition label, you want to make sure there's a good ratio to protein, to carbs, and fats. And that's, again, why I love Post-Rough, because it's 25 grams of protein and 0 sugars, right? Which is going to be absolutely amazing. But when you actually get into the ingredients, you can compare this to other companies that it's actually just less stuff. One of my favorite things to mention is like our pink lemonade protein. Oh my God, so amazing. Like, you don't even think pink lemonade protein would be a thing, but the truth is that it tastes absolutely amazing. But most people ask, well, it's not actually, when you mix it, it's not actually pink. And that's because we didn't add the red dye, the food coloring to it, because you just don't need all those additives. So a lot of additives and things that companies add for marketing purposes or whatever the case is, we didn't do that because we understand that the closer we can make it to a whole food, the better it's going to be for your body. So again, those are the things you're looking for. If you're just like, I don't know, you can check you probably have a protein powder in your cabinet. You can go check these things. But again, if it's missing any of those things, it's better just not to take it. If you're not going to take the highest quality and the best products, then you might as well just stick to whole food and not do supplements at all. Okay. And if your products aren't good enough or you can't find a product that's good enough, again, I always take in my clients, I recommend taking Post-Rough. I manufactured this from the ground up. It is the best of the best. I can promise you that. And of course, there's links underneath or above this video, wherever you're watching, if you're interested in getting yourself some Post-Rough protein. Moving on to the second supplement that I usually recommend to all clients who are looking to lose weight and build their happiest, healthiest life. This one is actually might catch a lot of you guys off guard because you've heard mixed things about this. But the second supplement I usually recommend, and I think everybody should be taking this if you're training, is creatine monohydrate. And a lot of people who are looking to lose weight, usually they say that they try to avoid creatine because they heard it makes you gain weight. It's only for people who are trying to bulk and gain weight and put on muscle. And I'm going to be the first person to tell you it's simply just not true. And what's interesting is that whoever told you that simply just hasn't done their research. You can send this video to them and be like, you didn't do your research, because creatine is actually the most researched supplement on planet Earth. And there's more science and data to back up these things that I'm about to say. You can do a quick Google search and it can prove all of these things, right? And so creatine is really interesting because it's actually going to, without again getting too into the nitty gritty and the sciencey stuff, it's basically just going to help your performance in the gym. That's all it does. And creatine isn't technically an energy system, but that's kind of how it works. It helps recycle our energy. So that way we can bust out that last rep or big explosive movements and things like that. And so when you're taking creatine, you tend to perform better in the gym. And if we're performing better in the gym, again, usually for people who are training and working out, this is really great for them. Kills two birds with one stone, just like the post-workout protein, is that to take this and really get the benefits of it, you gotta work out, which again is promoting the active lifestyle, which is why I love it so much. You don't just normally take it on your own. You gotta pair it with the workouts and put in the work first. And so when we talk about creatine and your performance, if you're performing better and you're able to get more reps or lift heavier, whatever the case is, again, we are going to see results faster. But again, you have to put in the work to see that. The claims with it being for people who are bulking or gaining weight usually is the fact that creatine is like ready to rock and roll. A lot of it gets stored in your muscles. And because it creates this imbalance and osmosis and all these other things, is that it tends to pull water into the muscle cell where it's getting stored, which could cause you to gain a couple, maybe ounces or pounds of water weight, just depending. But again, I need you to understand that when you're trying to lose weight, we want to lose the right kind of weight. We want to burn fat. So you actually building lean tone muscle and pulling water into the muscle cell and retaining that little bit of water. A cell full of water is a healthy cell. Like, that's actually a good thing, right? And so that's kind of where the claims come, is like, oh, if you're making creatine, you're going to gain weight. Like, you might gain a pound, but it's a pound of water weight and it's actually going to benefit you in the long run. It's not like you're going to gain 10 pounds every week. You're going to gain that one initial pound maybe, and then that's it, right? You're not going to keep gaining weight because you're taking creatine, right? So, and you probably really won't even notice a difference in how you look or your body just from taking creatine for a week or two, right? Again, it's just to help your performance in the gym. Cool? Highly recommend it. You're probably going to take 2.5 to 5 grams every single day. It's a consistency thing. You got to do it on a regular basis. Cool? Sweet. Moving on to number 4, the number 4 supplement that I recommend, that I just see really genuinely helps people, and this one comes in a pair, is going to be a greens powder and a multivitamin. And the reason why I pair those two things together is because I truly believe your micronutrients and your digestive enzymes and how you're processing food is extremely important. And it's usually the most overlooked thing. And I want to kind of give you an example and explain. The way I tend to explain this to my clients is your calories and your macronutrients are like the gasoline in your car. When you're filling up your car, you go to full, and now your car can go from point A to point B. And if your car gets to empty, what do? You fill it back up, because if you don't, again, I don't care how high gas prices are, if you don't fill up your car, it will die and it will not work anymore. Same thing with you. If you stop eating food, what's going to happen? You're going to run out of energy and cease to exist, right? So it's no brainer that we have to eat, we have to fuel ourselves. But your micronutrients, your digestive enzymes are like the little workers that nobody really pays attention to, that don't really make you go or do things. It's not like the fuel or the energy, but you couldn't survive without it. In the example of the car, this is going to be like your tires, your brake pads, your oil, your windshield wipers, right? If you were, the example I always give is that if you were to go all the way till you need an oil change and you don't change your oil and you go a mile over, what happens? Nothing. You go 100 miles over, nothing really happens. I've even heard of people going thousands of miles over when they're due for an oil change and nothing bad happens. And so you kind of just sometimes push the pace in that category because it's not detrimental. Same thing with like rotating your tires or changing your tires or your brake pads. When was the last time you checked your brake pads? You don't do it every single day. You just trust that they work. And you take it into the mechanic shop and then they say, oh, you need new brake pads, and you get new brake pads. Same thing with your windshield wipers. Okay, sometimes they're not working the best and you just say, oh, I'll get to it, and you don't always get to it right away until there's a really bad storm and you need them. Then you're like, crap, I should have changed my windshield wipers. No difference with your digestive enzymes and your micronutrients, right? Like, when was the last time you monitored your vitamin A or your vitamin B or C or D? And we know that they're important, but you don't really monitor them, and you're not eating enough whole foods or getting enough vegetables or enough vitamins on a regular basis. And at first, you don't notice a difference. But when you're in that deficiency for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, no different than the car, what ends up happening? Your car just starts breaking down. And it seems like it's breaking down every week and it's something new. And you're like, oh, why is this happening all of a sudden? It wasn't all of a sudden. You've been treating your car like crap for years and years and years, and now it's all catching up to you. Same thing with your micronutrients and digestive enzymes. Eventually, it catches up to you. You get to your 30s, you get to your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s. Heck, some of you guys might even be in your 20s and already experiencing this, but you're just tired all the time. You're not motivated. You have brain fog, right? Your libido's down. Your back hurts all the time. Your joints hurt. And you're just wondering, well, like, why all of a sudden is this happening? It's probably because you haven't been taking care of your body, and it's finally catching up to you. And so the cool thing is that these two pair together will give you your micronutrients and your digestive enzymes. And, you know, micronutrients, we kind of explained that with vitamin A, B, C, D, those kinds of things. And I think we kind of have a grasp on that and why a multivitamin might be important. But digestive enzymes and probiotics, you know, having probiotics that are alive and active in digestive enzymes, that's where your green powder is going to come in. And what this does is helps you digest and process the foods you're eating. The reason why this is important is because you are working so hard on working out and eating healthy, right? But if you're eating healthy and doing all these things and you don't actually digest the food you're eating, it does you no good. And you need digestive enzymes to do that, and probiotics, right? Like a healthy gut to make this happen. And so digestive enzymes are extremely important. And you can know that if you probably need something like that, like a greens powder and a multivitamin. If you struggle with things like low energy or sugar cravings all the time, a super sweet tooth, or you struggle with like bloat, you're like, oh my God, it doesn't matter what I do. Like, I'm just always so bloated, and you struggle with bowel movements and things like that. Those are good signs that maybe something's off with your micronutrient complex, or even your digestive enzymes and your digestion and your gut health in general. And that's why these two things usually come in a pair. Again, I have links to all these supplements down below. The protein powder, the greens, and the multivitamin, my company makes, again, highly recommend. And then the creatine, my company doesn't make a creatine, but again, I have the one that I recommend down below. You can find those things as well. So I hope that makes sense. Moving on to the fifth and final supplement that I personally recommend. So the final supplement I recommend, and again, this goes with training, is some kind of hydration. This is actually something new that I've been adding in, and it's made a world of a difference for me. Hydration is super important, making sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day. But again, drinking too much water could be detrimental to your goals as well. We want to make sure we have the right amount, but also to make sure we have enough electrolytes. That is super important. And, you know, things like sodium usually get a bad rap, but also like calcium is super important, potassium, magnesium, like all these different things. And it's just going to help with your performance and how you feel and your energy and making sure that your body's just working the right way and staying hydrated at the end of the day. I think we can all agree that being hydrated is a good thing. And so I actually have 2 products here. I'll put links to them below. I started with Liquid IV. Highly recommend it. This one's going to be a little sweeter and a little easier if you've never done a hydration packet before. You just mix it with water. I take it to the gym and drink it while I'm working out. The other one is, I believe this is Element. It's LMNT. This one I actually like more than the Liquid IV. I mean, just looking at the ingredients and what's in it, I just think this one's a little bit more serious of a product as far as training and things like that go. However, if you've never done a hydration packet before, I would highly recommend starting with the Liquid IV, because I started with this Element and I put it in my water. And it was like, it was a lot. It was so like salty. I couldn't drink it. I was like, oh no. The Liquid IV is a nice stepping stone. And after a couple weeks of doing Liquid IV, then I was able to do the Element and it didn't taste so bad, right? So it's kind of like a palate thing. Like you got to kind of get used to it. So you can depend on where you're at. I think they're both great. One might not be better or worse. You got to, again, you have to take these things and figure out how do you feel on these things. Don't just go off of what I do. I like the Element. I've also done the Liquid IV, but you might like one more than the other, right? So again, let's recap this video. The number 1 product that I highly recommend is no supplements. If you have not figured out how to have a healthy relationship with food and balance in your life to fix your nutrition protocol to move you in the right direction, there's no supplement that's going to help you. If you're not actively working on being more active and working out or something along those lines, there's no supplement that's going to fix the problem of your weight. Fix those 2 things first. So my first recommendation is no supplement and getting those things in place. The second supplement I recommend is a high quality whey isolate that's hydrolyzed and low temperature processed and has the right ingredients in it. Again, I highly recommend. My company makes an amazing one. I recommend this to all my clients and I personally take it as well. The third thing is going to be a creatine monohydrate. Again, my company doesn't make a creatine powder, but I'll put a link below versus the one that I found. A cool thing about creatine too is that it doesn't need to be expensive. Okay, I usually get mine off of Amazon. There's a lot of brands out there. Find which one works best for you. The fourth one is a pair of your multivitamin and a green supplement that has digestive enzymes and live and active probiotics in it, so it can help you with your digestion and your overall function and making sure you're looking for the long run as far as your health and wellness goes. And the final thing is to pair with your activity and training and making sure you're hydrated, because being hydrated is super important. Highly recommend some kind of hydration supplement. Again, there's a lot more out there than just these 2. Figure out what works best for you. Liquid IV is what I started with, and then I eventually moved to Element. I hope this makes sense. I hope that you guys learned something. I really appreciate you being here. Again, please don't forget to subscribe, and I only have one ask of you, because I get these questions all the time about all these different supplements. If you learn something, or your friend is telling you not to take creatine because you're going to gain a bunch of weight and it's only for people who bulk, you can send this to them so they can have a good idea, and we can all get people on the same page of what all of this looks like. So please share. It means the world to me. And other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Just remember, we don't pray for an easy life. We earn a rough one. Y'all keep earning those cookies.